Good evening. Oh, no, good afternoon. I'm thinking it's already evening. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing? Excited that you guys are jumping on. We are continuing our prophetic series. Just really trying to get some basic understanding of how the prophetic works and just aspects of how we know if we have the prophetic gift or called to the office. All right, so for my Atlanta folks, I'll probably have to do it later. Here is the information. Some people wanted to know where I was going to be Sunday night. You still have to register, I think, through Eventbrite, but it's at the Renaissance Atlanta Waverly Hotel. Renaissance Atlanta Waverly Hotel on Sunday night, and it's for women. So it's a mother-daughter event. So you don't have to, I don't think you have to have a daughter. I'll be teaching on mother wounds and daughter wounds. I'll be on a panel discussing those things. So for those that were interested in coming to that event. All right. So the fast and the prayer line info, we're getting a flyer made. It should be done today. You'll be able to access that at Warring Ministries, int.org, or on our Facebook at Warring Ministries International. And I'll also post it on my Ask Dr. Faith Facebook. All right. The event in Atlanta, you can go to the Eventbrite, and it's Mother Daughter T, Atlanta, Georgia. You'll be able to find that. All right, let's get going. You guys have a lot been asking, how do you know you're a prophet? How do you know? And usually if you're asking, there's a huge clue that you either have the gift of prophecy that's pretty strong, or you're called into the prophetic office. So we have a class that's starting end of June, and it's going to be 4 hours worth of training. And one of the first things that I do is go over some of the things that happen to prophetic people as they're growing up that give them an indication that they either have the gift of prophecy or they're called into the office of a prophet. There's certain things that happen from the time that we are born that indicate that, hey, you probably are strongly gifted, or even you're called into the office of a prophet. So today I'm just going to give you guys a couple of those. During the class, we're going to go through those in detail. But you will find that most people that are prophetically gifted or called as prophets usually have some kind of interesting birth story. Maybe they came out and the cord was around their neck. Maybe they were almost aborted. Maybe they were very sick growing up. Maybe they had some sort of hardships growing up. A lot of prophetic people either go through different hardships. They may go through abuse. They may go through different things early on that are indicators that the enemy does not want them. So those early indicators are signs that there is something on this person's life that the enemy is trying to take them out. So usually, and that doesn't always have to be a case. If you are a mother or a father that's filled with the Holy Spirit and you have prophetic children, you can now guard them from those experiences. So our children don't have to go through those same experiences, but a lot of prophetic people go through those early on because their parents don't know who they are. Nobody around them has the language to say this person has a unique gift or this person has a unique calling. So people that are called in a strong prophetic gift or in the office of a prophet will tell you, I almost died several times. They'll tell you, I went through XYZ growing up. I'm not saying that's a prerequisite, but part of it is because the enemy wants to destroy us. The other thing is that the enemy, the Lord matures us through some of those hardships. So one of the first clues is just various interesting birth stories. The another one is that you have interesting, just early on, life stories of just trying to push through or near death experiences. There's usually some sort of abuse or some sort of brokenness that happens early on as well. And this is all because the enemy is trying to stop you from going forward. Some other signs that you might be, you have a strong prophetic gift or you might be a prophet is that very early on, you probably sense things things and those things happen, and you don't even have to be a Christian yet. You sense things and they happen, or you have dreams and then the dreams happen. Another thing is you have dreams that are nightmares. You have things that are chasing you. You have issues where you can't wake up. Those are clues that once again, the enemy's trying to make you afraid. The enemy's trying to have you close down that portal. Some of you guys will also have some interesting experiences, some supernatural experiences where Jesus may visit you. You may be taken up in a trance, and I don't have time to explain all these things right now. But you may be taken up in a trance. You may have open visions. And what most people will say about prophetic people is, you're strange. You've got an interesting spirit, or that child has an old soul, or that person is just very unique. They're very different. Most people that they don't have the language to say, you know what, there's something on this person's life. They just can say, they'll just say things like, you're different, or, you have an old spirit. If you were called those kind of things, those are clues that you may have a prophetic gift. And the other clues are, you are very outspoken. You have a heart for justice. You like things that to be right, for people to be treated well, people to be treated with fairness. Those are all clues. People that have a strong prophetic gift are called as prophets, usually are fighters. They're people that are very determined. They're people that don't give up easily. They're very resilient. They're able to hold on until the end. Those are all clues. That's why a lot of us survive so many difficult hardships, because we're resilient. There's some people that are prophetic that will struggle so much emotionally that they may diagnose you with something, or you may even be put in a mental hospital. I know my pastor, he struggled a lot mentally early on, and a lot of that is because we don't know how to discern the things that we're hearing as what God is saying and what we're hearing. You have to learn how to decipher all those things. So it's really, really important. Can all these clues apply to another office? No. Today I'm mainly dealing with the office of a prophet. There's maybe apostolic, but I'll deal with that another day. But right today, what I'm sharing is deals mainly with the office of a prophet. Another clue is, I was saying, encounters, visitations. We talk about rejection, and that's because the Lord is wanting you to not have the fear of men. Remember, I talked about this yesterday, not having the fear of men, but being only devoted to the Lord, only being connected to the Lord. And so you will have these moments growing up where you feel like you're not understood. And we're not meant to be understood by people. We're meant to be understood by God. That does not mean that we act weird and we isolate ourselves. Any of those negative symptoms that you may be exhibiting are because the enemy is having his way with you. So when you don't have any friends, when you isolate yourself, if you deal with your emotions up and down and you don't know how to master it, that could be a clue that the Lord is calling you deeper into himself, or even to get help. But that's why it's really important. Even children, as soon as they start giving some of these clues, that you get them in a church that is filled with the Holy Spirit, that can help you begin to understand your gifting, that can help you walk out your wounds. I mean, I'm not taking any mentees right now, but I am still meeting with people that want to be part of our mentorship program. And one of the things the Lord has me doing right now is only taking people that are called as prophets. And that's what I'm going to be training for the next several months, because we're planting a church. So I cannot take a lot of people, but two that I just took in, all of them near-death experiences. I mean, one of them, hopefully one day she'll share her story, just insane, was a drug dealer, was all the way in Hollywood, just all this stuff. And God has anointed her. And so what you see is the enemy trying to destroy you early on and God calling you. But that doesn't always have to be the case. If you have spirit-filled parents, if you have parents that left you a godly inheritance, you can grow up in the church, love Jesus, walk with him, and have a normal life. It is not normal for us to have chaos and brokenness all the time. Now, each of us are going to have hardships where that draw us closer to God. And I'll give you guys a little thing here. I used to pray for my son. When I would pray for him, God protect him from every single thing I could imagine. And I just realized the Lord said, all you need to pray is that whatever hardships he goes through will allow him to know me better. And so that's been my prayer. I know that me and my husband are building a godly inheritance for him. But he has to go through things, and he will go through things. But I know that everything is going to work out for his good, and it's going to cause him to love God better. And And so I know that there are certain things that if I had not gone through, I would not be who I am in God. So we don't run from hardships. We don't run from persecution. We don't run from challenges. We just ask that God would allow us to know him better in those moments, that our children would allow us to know us better. All right, so those are just some of the basic stuff. During the course, I'll go through some of the bigger stuff. Once you have those kind of clues, or you know, checklist, you went through some of these experiences, the next thing is that you actually prophesy accurately. A clue that you have a prophetic gift or called as a prophet is that when you prophesy accurately. And remember, yesterday we went over the different levels of the prophetic. And so some of you guys have words of knowledge, some of you have words of wisdom, some of you guys have just a strong discernment, and some of you guys actually have the gift of prophecy, which is the foretelling. You can tell into the future. Now, there's some foretelling prophetic aspects of that gift that, you won't find out in 5 years. You won't find out in 10 years if what you said was accurate. But you cannot, before even that, you cannot say I'm a prophet and none of your stuff is coming to pass. No one can vouch for your gift. So once you have a clue that maybe I'm a prophet, or maybe I have a strong prophetic gift, people will start prophesying it over you. People will begin to tell you and confirm it. So it's not good enough to wake up and say I'm prophetess so-and-so and put your name on a card. You need people around you that can validate that gift. Whether you go to a random conference and they pull it out, or you have teachers and leaders that can pull it out and help confirm you and help develop you. That's the next part. So once you've gone through all these experiences, and a lot of us, we go through all these experiences and we don't understand that the reason we're going through them is because of the calling on our life. And so the most important thing to do is you need to get language to your assignment. That is one of my assignments in the earth, to give people language to their existence, to give them words to articulate why they went through what they went through. And so once you have an understanding of, oh, I went through this because I'm a teacher. I went through this because I have a prophetic gift. I went through this because I'm called to ministry. The next thing is going to be, okay, I need to get into a place where people can help validate this gift. And that doesn't mean that we look for people to, oh, you're a prophet, you're a prophet. No, God has already told us in our heart. And then you need to just be in places where people prophesy. They'll eventually pick it up. Now, there are going to be, there are going to be some times where God will call you to himself, and we call it the prophetic process. And I'm going to teach this during the course that we're offering, the Am I a Prophet course. And the prophetic process has to do with a season where God calls you out and he begins to train you. Most prophets, those that are called into the office of a prophet, this is not so much those that just have a strong gift. These are people that are called into the office. There will be a season of training where it's just you and the Holy Spirit, and he's perfecting things and he's training you. And then he will go and he will begin to connect you with other people that can help you up and can train you and can send you forward. Now, we're either trained in the wilderness. There are seasons where we're trained in the wilderness. There's seasons when we're trained in the desert. And then there are seasons when we're trained before people. But all those seasons should be manifested, in your life, especially if you're a prophet. If you have a strong prophetic gift, hey, Crystal, she's a prophet. Good to see you on. If you have a strong prophetic gift, you may not necessarily go through the wilderness desert season and then amongst people, but most prophets, that office, they go through that. Okay, so we've talked about God has been talking to you. You've been having interesting visitations. You've been having dreams or visions. People have maybe just been saying you're very unique. You may have gone through some levels of brokenness early on. Someone said, I wish I could talk to you one-on-one. We do free consultations for they're 10 minutes now because my schedule has gotten, very, very busy. So that's at info@askdrfaith.com. And then I do consultations and inner healing counseling and coaching and all that stuff. So you could email info@askdrfaith.com. If you just need a quick direction or whatever, or you can also just email us the question and it will get to me. So once you you have gone through the wilderness, you've gone through that training, the accuracy is really, really important. And then the confirmation from other people. This is just the basic level. This is like step one. After that, God begins to give you a specific assignment. There are some prophets that are called within the church. There are some prophets that are called outside. There are prophets that are called into marketplace. There are prophets that are called into Hollywood. That you have a particular people group that you are called to. And so once you have realized, okay, I have this strong gift, I'm now in a place where I'm being trained. I'm now in a place where people are not jealous. And this is one thing some of you prophets or prophetic people have experienced, where people are just jealous of you for no reason. I had elders of churches. I was 16 years old. And what would happen to me is people would come to me after service, and I would pray for them, and they would get healed, or they would get filled with the Holy Spirit on the spot. And this was at a Baptist church. And so the elders sat me down and they were like, you cannot pray for anybody. And I had submitted my gift. So it wasn't like I was just a renegade person. I went to them and I told them, you know what? I think that I'm prophetic. The Lord has called me. I didn't have all the language, but I said, I see and I hear. And they said, oh, okay. And they didn't think that it was serious until people are getting healed during church. This is another clue that you might be prophetic. You see brokenness on people. During church, they would have these altar calls and people would go up there for prayer and they would leave with the snakes still wrapped around their arms and their bodies. I could see all these things. I was 16 years old. And so then, the Lord would allow me to pray for them and they would experience breakthrough on the spot. And the elders of that church sat me down. Well, luckily I have strong confidence. Some of you guys have taken, one correction or somebody telling you can't prophesy anymore and have closed yourself up. You don't want to do it anymore. You've got church hurt. Get over it. I tell people the fastest way to get over rejection is to just get over it. Those people they did not have the capacity for me. They did not have the language for me. And you will find that a lot of times that sometimes the leaders that don't have a capacity for you will be afraid of you, or because they don't know how to train you. They don't know how to equip you. So they don't know what to do with you. And some of them are not necessarily controlling. It's just that they don't know what to do. They're like, oh, that's nice. But it's because they have not gotten all the training. So I always say prophets need to be properly positioned. You need to get into places where people are not intimidated by the prophetic, where people can pick it up and people can help train you and equip you, and they can celebrate your gift. There are churches like that. You may have to move to a different state, right? But you need to go wherever God is calling you in order to be able to walk that out. Okay, so there are some of you guys that have experienced that, and some of it was because you didn't know how to operate in your gift. And I'll do a Periscope on this a little bit. And once again, all this is in the course that we're teaching at the end of the month. But if you don't know how to deliver a word, you're prophesying left and right, and you don't have the proper etiquette, it can be really, really damaging. So unfortunately, guys, I'll do a part 2 tomorrow. My client is calling me. I'll take like 1 or 2 questions and then I'll finish this tomorrow. Good. Hopefully it was a good start to those who've been kind of just trying to figure it out, trying to get some of the clues. All right. I'm not necessarily answering about dreams and things like that. Tornadoes, you want to check your own emotional issues that are going on. And if you don't have any emotional unrest, it might be a futuristic dream, but it depends on the color of the tornado. Do you ever struggle with not accepting but feeling confident or capable? I'm a different breed. So I never really struggled with that. Maybe early on, I think maybe the way that I was raised and part of my temperament, people that are melancholy temperaments struggle with what you were asking about, feeling capable because they're perfectionists. But I learned early that wherever I'm weak, God can be made strong. And so I celebrated being weak because it was an opportunity for me to see God's strength. So I never put it on myself that I have to be perfect or I have to get it right the first time. And I was trained in a culture where it's okay to make a mistake. This is safe. We're going to help you correct it. And you can try again. So it's all about putting your brokenness and your incapabilities to the Lord. What is a marketplace prophet? Is it just a workplace? It can be, but these are people that know that they're specifically called into the marketplace to shift it through prayer, through encounters, through policy, through agendas. And so we'll probably do some teaching on that. Okay. Can you get training outside of your church home? Yeah, a lot of people that are part of our mentorship program that take our courses may have churches that don't necessarily offer this stuff. So they come to us and we train them and we equip them and we send them out. Most churches don't have an issue with that unless it's a controlling church. But yeah, you can get training anywhere. There's conferences. There are people that operate in these gifts. Your spiritual parent or even your mentor may not be in your church. The Lord wants you have to look for them. Okay, can you teach about false prophets? I gave a little bleep yesterday on false prophets. Watch the Periscope. You can check them out on YouTube. All right, one or two more questions and I've got to go. How do you know when it's a controlling church? If you're asking, it probably is. No, Apostle Matthew did a whole scope on this a couple of months ago. I'll try to do one sometime soon. I can't answer that right now just in one word. What's the difference between trained in desert and wilderness? People use the word desert and wilderness prepares you for the work of the Lord in a season where maybe you don't have people that are directly there, but God is the one training you. How do you know who you're called to? You want to look for people that have a similar calling as you. So if you feel like you're a teacher, be under some great teachers. If you think you're a prophet, find people that are prophet. But not only that, I am called to arts and entertainment, government, and business. Most people that are in our church, in our ministry, are called into business. They're called into arts and entertainment. They're artistic. They're creative. Find people that do things that are similar to you. How do you grow in the gift of wisdom and knowledge? I taught on that yesterday. Check out that Periscope. All right. I've got to go. I've got my mentee. I will do a Periscope just on how to work with children that are prophetic. I promise. Eventbrite is on Atlanta. I'll be in Atlanta on Sunday. It's on Eventbrite. It's called the Mother-Daughter Tea. Yashariah's Place is who's hosting it. If you're under someone who won't train you, find someone who will. Do you counsel via FaceTime, via phone or Skype? You pay for it. It's through my business. All right. Bless you guys. Talk to you soon. We'll continue this discussion later. Bye-bye.